Hey, I wanted to make a podcast that was both entertaining and educational. So here goes. I rode around in search of ideas. So after I found all those ideas, I put them on a list. I could make a podcast to talk about bass lines, maybe talking about using loopers, being a type 1 diabetic, maybe teaching kindergarten, that's something I do, or I coach teachers. Maybe we could talk about living in China. We could talk about teaching music in 2021, drum fills and when to use them, or even haircuts, and why to avoid them. So let's put these topics in a jar and pick a random topic for today's episode. I've got all my topics here. My brother made this mug. It's a picture of our dog Kelly. And what's our topic for the day? It looks like, how do people type in Chinese and Japanese? Oh, very interesting topic. When I learned about that, I was really excited. It's really cool. I hope you like it. So how do people type in Chinese and Japanese? Here we go. Part 9 is coming next. Right now is part 8. An overview of the Chinese and Japanese language systems. Here's a brief overview of my understanding of how the Chinese and Japanese languages systems work. Yeah, how those language systems work. So, this is my attempt to write the word Zhongwen. Here's a couple more attempts. Zhongwen is the name in Chinese of the Chinese language. And Zhongwen is made up of Hanzi, which is another word for Chinese characters. Whenever you Chinese, there's many thousands of characters, and they're all called Hanzi, and that's in Chinese. Talk about that later. And let's compare it with Japanese, which is called Nihongo. And Japan is called Nihon, which means sun, book, but also origin. So it's origin of the sun, and go is language. So in Japanese, we also have Chinese characters, and they're called kanji, which kind of sounds like Hanzi. So the Chinese characters that are used in Japanese are originally from China, but they have evolved differently since they may or may have been adopted hundreds of years ago. So some of them are the same, like actually these two are the same. Nihon, in Chinese it's Ruben, most means sun, book, but in Chinese this is actually a counter for book, grammatical thing instead of the word book, but also means origin. So these words are the same. These Chinese characters are the same in Japanese and in Chinese, but Japanese has two other alphabets. They're actually not alphabets. So like in English we have an alphabet, series of letters, and each letter makes a sound. But Japanese has these syllabaries, which produce like a combination of a consonant and a vowel, or just a vowel. And there's two of them, hiragana and katakana, and they're both the same set of sounds. A, I, U, E, O, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so, nani, tati, tu, ta, chi, tsu, te, to, nani, nu, ne, no, ha, hi, fu, he, ho. Yeah, the F is more like a exhale of air. Yeah, these are the same in sound, but the katakana is used specifically for foreign words, or for emphasis, or for onomatopoeia. Hiragana is the first letter system syllabary that children read or learn to read. And after that, up through high school, every Japanese student has to learn a certain number, about 5,000 of these Chinese characters called kanji. So how do we type these? How are we going to get these this is the word for language, go, in Japanese. How do I get this into my keyboard? I'll show you. Okay, so what is typing? Well, I guess it's putting a word into a computer by writing in the sound components of it, aka an alphabet. Let's learn a Japanese alphabet. It's called hiragana. It's one of 3 alphabets they use. A, I, U, E, O, Ka, Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko, Sa, Shi, Su, Se, So, Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te, To, Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, No, Ha, Hi, Fu, He, Ho, Ma, Mi, Mu, Me, Mo, Ya, Yu, Yo, Ra, Ri, Ru, Re, Ro, Wa, Ho, So on iPhones and Android phones, I guess, Japanese people use something called swipe to type. They still have A, I, U, E, O, Ka, Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko. They just need to hold down on the first one, Ki. No, this is Sa, Shi, Su, Se. So they hold down on the first letter, and then they can swipe left, right for I, U, E, O. And it's all in the same direction. Nani, nu, no. Ha, Hi, Hu, He, Ho. Mi, mu, me, mo, ya, yo, yu, yo, ya, yu, yo, and then ra, ri, ru, re, ro, and then wa, no. So, but those are just the sounds. So we still need to, now we can type words using the sounds. So Japan is actually called Nihon, and we can use that in the Japanese alphabet. We're going to use the hiragana. So I go to the na key, and I go over to the left ni. I need ho. So I went to ha and then down and then ni ho n. And that's the word for Japan. Now, it shows me when I say nihon, just like T9 texting, the computer suggests the word you're looking for. And you can choose which one. Because obviously there are some kanji, some characters that sound the same but are meaning different. So let's write it in Chinese now. Chinese is kind of similar. Use syllables to write in and then choose the right words, but we're actually going to use what look like English letters. It's called pinyin. So Ruben, R-I-B-E-N, was the way to write Japan. And then the language is you. So I'm looking for you right now. There's so many different ones that mean you. So you gotta kind of know some kanji. You need to know some Chinese characters to type. So yeah, you can type the globe, type in anything. Now China is actually called the Middle Kingdom. That's how they refer to themselves. So you need to write zhong, which means middle, and then guo, which is country. Japan was the land of the rising sun. So China is Zhongguo, Middle Kingdom. And if I type in zhong with a ZH, ZHONG, it shows me, and then Jiwo, Zhongguo, and I can choose it. So there we go, that's how we type in Chinese and Japanese. Hey, let's learn some Japanese words. This is iruka. Iruka. It's dolphin. Next up, gyoza. My favorite. Next up, ruretto. Ruretto. These are all called kado, card. Okay, let's breathe for a moment. Thank you.